Hey guys, it's TheFrXion here, Tiger Tank 1-2, however you want to call me, I don't really care, and welcome back to Wall of Tanks. It is Monday, the 14th, and Wargaming have just released the update 1.4 for the test server. So, common test server, we're going to be jumping on that very soon, but not today. Today we want to take a look at what is about to change in this update, what is going to come, new features, and I'll give you guys my opinion about it. No gameplay today, I'm sorry, but if you're looking for gameplay, Wednesday and Friday usually that's the time where I upload gameplay. Monday more than more often I'll just talk about different things that have developed during the week in Wall of Tanks. So yeah, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I have to schedule, yet I don't have like the content set for every single day, so it might still change from time to time. But Wednesday usually is the day where I kind of cover one tier 10 vehicle, and Friday usually I just tend to go with the flow, whatever just feels like what feels right. So update 1.4. Now basically what you can see here immediately is the video that Wargaming have made, and I will put it down in the link. I will put the link down in the description below because it is always Wargaming's videos are basically top-notch produced and they're to the point, and they cover what update 1.4 is going to be looking like. So the content of this update is going to be consisting of wheeled vehicles that will be added, personal mission update, which isn't really that much of a content update since the missions are already in the game for a while now, one new map, the Ghost Town, different 2D customization options, although it's nothing too big, I'm just going to put that out up front, and then concurrent rendering support. Now, this is a very interesting development because we do have a new engine, or at least we had the engine now for about, let's say, 9 months and almost a year now. And the new engine obviously made the game look a lot nicer, a lot smoother, but at the same time, some older PCs that are being used out there obviously cannot handle the workload. And since Wargaming or Wall of Tanks is a very GPU intensive game and not very CPU intensive, they actually decided to work with some people on the engine and get the best performance out of the GPU and CPU so that the game is going to be more balanced, so that the workload is going to be distributed equally on both hardware platforms. But yeah, we'll get to that eventually afterwards. So 1.4 is the very first update for 2019, and the biggest change definitely is the release of the French wheeled vehicle tech tree. What we will see is obviously we have already seen the tier 8 premium light tank, the EBR 75 FL10, some chosen content creators that were making or that are still making World of Tanks videos. They were given a 7-day trial period where they could test out their premium vehicle. Unfortunately, I'm not in the list. Now, no big surprise with my amount of subscribers, that wouldn't have been very helpful for Wargaming since they do want to get the wide masses, and I don't think that is going to happen on my channel anytime soon. So yeah, we already had the very first taste of a wheeled vehicle. So what are we going to be looking at? They are going to be adding 5, or basically they're going to be adding the tech tree that we can play. And it starts off directly from the Amex Elk Bis. Now the ELC is the tier 5 light tank. It used to be such an amazing vehicle. That is still a track tank. We all played it. It's so much fun. It's a tiny vehicle with a 90mm gun with terrible gun statistics, but still, I mean, gun characteristics, but still, it's a lot of fun. It used to be a lot better, but they nerfed it a little bit, but it's still a lot of fun. I don't own it in my garage, but I think it's time for me to go grab it out of whatever hole it is sitting in and start grinding that vehicle, because it is starting from there that you'll be able to get the wheeled vehicles from. That is the only vehicle that actually allows you to grind to the wheeled vehicles. So just straight up information that you should know. They're going to be adding 5 armored cars. Now it's going to be 6 with the premium tank, but that doesn't really matter because you won't be able to play a premium tank on the test server yet. And it's starting from tier 6 to tier 10. And what you can see right here are screenshots from these wheeled vehicles. And what I can say already, you know what, we're going to refresh the site because it wasn't loading several photographs. What I can tell you guys already is that this vehicle is not the tier 6, although it does look very derpy. It is actually the tier 9 light tank. I'm not sure what its name is, but I did check out the vehicles in the garage previously, very shortly, and this is actually the tier 9 version with the 90mm gun. Then right here, still the tier 9, this is actually the tier 7 tank. What you can see, the immediate difference is that this vehicle, the tier 9, has the wheels that can be put down with, that is a new mechanic that will be introduced into the game, which will give you a lot better speed, but at the cost of mobility. You will not be able to turn as fast, while at tier 6 and tier 7 that feature is not yet implemented. It's just wheeled vehicles that are quite fast. What they do have all in common is they have a very interesting boost start where you can pretty much use W and space and hold them at the same time, and you'll basically accelerate very quickly as soon as you let go of space, and that allows you to get into very interesting positions, and it does damage your engine from time to time. So let's take a look at the note that they have actually written, because most of it has basically, yeah, it's just announcing that the light vehicles will be in the test server. The note that they have actually written is that all of these vehicles were actually, I mean, they have a historical origin, and some of them were mass produced and even saw service. And I think the most famous out of these 5 is probably the Lynx. Now this is still a tier 7. Tier 7, very interesting looking, reminds me of the German, I'm not sure, a German armored vehicle that they had in World War II. I'd have to check back. It's not the Scout, it's not the Panther, the little vehicle that they had with a 50mm gun, but actually it was one equipped with a machine gun. Very interesting. I'll maybe check it back later. But yeah, moving on. This is actually the tier 10. You can see it looks very, very interesting. The turret, if you are a little bit familiar with military vehicles from the modern time, turret should be familiar to you, because there are certainly vehicles out there that look very similar, at least the turret. Now, obviously, chassis is something different, but the turret looks very similar. For me, it looks similar to the Italian, what was it called? The tank destroyer that they have, that is still currently in service. At least the turret looks similar. Yeah, that is the tier 10. It has a 105mm gun, but more to that later on another day. Now, this is the tier 6. This is the tier 6 that you will be unlocking first, and it's a very interesting looking tank. It's basically just armored with kind of a turret and 4 wheels, and that's it. It doesn't have the accelerating feature. It does have the accelerating feature, but it doesn't have the special wheels configuration and the new mechanic, as I mentioned previously. And what you cannot see right here, and what is actually missing, or which vehicle is actually missing, is the tier 8 version. Now the tier 8 is probably the most well known, and I actually wanted to show you guys the tier 8. The tier 8 is the Lynx, the Banard 6x6 Lynx. that is actually one of them that was used and still is in different kind of um, constellations. Yeah, so we'll be able to play test them, and basically they'll be available after that. Probably they'll check if it's going to work out on the live server. That is why the test server is here. But I'm of yeah, positive attitude towards this. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to playing these vehicles, and on Wednesday I'll be give you guys a bit of a retelling or recount how these vehicles work. So keep out until Wednesday, and we will cover these tanks, or some of them. So personal missions also get changed. They are changing some task for the Chimera. Now that is the second mission, the second reward vehicle. If you want to check yourself the specific conditions that you're currently stuck on, you can do that. It will be in the link in the description down below, because I will not look through all the different changes that they will be making. But basically, to recap what they're saying, some of the missions were too difficult, and people obviously haven't gotten this tank yet, or not a lot of people have gotten it yet, and that is the reason why they're making it easier for people to achieve this campaign. I think this campaign is not as good as the first campaign. It certainly is nice to have another campaign to unlock further reward vehicles, but how they're doing it, it's very grindy. It's not based upon like skill and doing something extraordinary. It's just very much more of grinding, which I'm not sure if Wargaming is aware. I think they are. That's why they're changing it. But you know, these missions are just, sometimes they're very annoying. I would really appreciate if they would make missions more interesting, like maybe something very awesome, very spectacular, like I don't know, drown a vehicle with your vehicle, something like that. That would be super funny. And it would really take skill. First of all, you have to get into a specific situation, and it's something new, right? Um, yeah, so they're also going to be changing these reward tanks. The Chimera and the Object 279 will be buffed, which I don't know. I haven't seen them yet in battle, but I have heard people telling me that the Object 279 had one specific weak point that you were able to penetrate at a certain angle, and they have fixed that. So yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that is good or bad. You have heard my opinion on the T55A and the Object 260. I did not understand why they buffed these vehicles. They did do it still, and yeah, it happened. We'll see how it's going to turn out. The longer this campaign is active, and the longer people have time to get these vehicles, the more we'll see, right? So over time we'll see more Chimeras and more Object 279s, because people will be able to get them, and we'll see how balanced these tanks really are once they're on the battlefield in numbers. So what they're going to be doing to the Chimera is the accuracy will be improved. Same goes for the shell velocity, aim time, and gun stabilization. And the view range will also be improved. Penetration goes up as well. Now, the Chimera is one of the tier 8 medium tanks with the highest alpha damage. And, well, it looks like they're going to basically pushing the gun stats a lot more. Object 279, it's going to be similar. Aim time and higher accuracy is going to what will be waiting for this vehicle. And dispersion rates will be better when the turret is rotating. And the lower plate will be stabilized, will be strengthened. Lower plate, now that vehicle doesn't really have a lower plate, and that's actually just a place where you can shoot in from below if the tank is at an edge, where the tracks are kind of leaving a small little gap. And I think that's very interesting. So, then the Ghost Town map will make a comeback. Now, I wanted to make a video for a while now covering some of the maps that we have lost, or ancient maps of World of Tanks, and I'm probably going to be doing that soon as well. But unfortunately, I only have access to the maps via the World of Tanks forums, where you can only see the mini map, and I can only recount and retell some of the stories, and I'm not sure if it is as interesting um, as I would imagine it in my head, because basically you don't see any gameplay. But the Ghost Town map, now this is a map that was actually introduced back in the days for events and very special kind of games. That was back in the days when you were able to unlock the object 220. What was it? No, not the object 220. The T22 medium tank that was OP as fuck back then, still is today, but you cannot unlock it anymore. And that was the one map that everyone was playing on with their tier 10s. Now, this map will come back in the form of random battles, and it's going to be very interesting. We'll take a look at the map just in a second. Let's first take a look at the note. Now, this map is based upon, looks like, an ancient legend. Wait, Ghost Town has an iconic legend. This map will be the battleground for a proud Kazakh warrior who was forced to leave his home for good and fight for freedom and peace of his loved ones. His path runs through the Kazakh steppes and deserts and leads him to the Ghost Town, where he'll face his foes. There's a lot at stake, and it might not be an easy win. So yeah, that's basically the backstory for wargaming on this map. And you can listen to the soundtrack of the map, which I think it's nice that they have given like a very personal flair to each one of those maps. I know a lot of people are not very fascinated by that, but I still think it's a nice deal. So yeah. So the map is actually quite large. It's 1,000 by 1,000 meters, which will give you basically more freedom. The town is in the middle, and basically is going to be the main center of attention, I think. It does look very interesting. Now, the usual World of Tanks map consists of like maybe 2 positions that can be rushed very early on, and then one position in the middle where people brawl it out. And it looks like this map is going to be similar in that effect, since I think that the spawn places are going to be in the south, or it's going to be in the corners. I think it's one spawn is going to be here, and one spawn is going to be there probably. And where people will fight it on is on the right side here, on the left side here, and in the middle for the heavy tanks. And there are probably some sniper positions that are kind of mirrored on the opposite sides, as you can see right there. Yeah, it's a very common World of Tanks map. Very common design in the sense. The town is located in the center of the map and still bears strategic importance. In this area, heavy tanks and armored tank destroyers will fight face to face to find out who's the strongest. Yeah, basically for the heavy tanks. The western part of the map is at the mercy of light and medium tanks. There is enough space for active maneuvering. Yeah, a lot of space right here. This is what they mean. We can actually take a look. It looks rather nice. Not a lot of cover. Open area where maneuverable vehicles can engage in active combat. This area has multiple points of cover that units can move between, as well as points of interest. Controlling these points makes it possible to advance on the enemy base or perform flanking maneuvers in the direction of the city. It doesn't look like a lot of cover. I'm not sure if everyone is going to be huddled around this rock right here. And it looks like you're quite exposed from the sides, even shooting at the city. Obviously, we're going to be taking a closer look at this map. It will be featured in the video as well later on, and we'll see just how it plays out. You have tank destroyers positions here in the south. They obviously can support the medium tanks here, and then you have another position over here where the vehicles can support the right flank. East is an advantageous sector for tank destroyers. The northern and southern parts of the map are favorable for long distance sniping. So very interesting here. You actually have quite a lot of foliage, as you can see right here. Open part of the map with multiple points of cover that can be utilized, such as bushes and small structures. These can either be used as positions for passive scouting or as footholds for a point-to-point gradual advance. Now, very interesting. Not a lot of cover. Some little huts and a lot of bushes. I think the light tanks will much rather play on this side than on the western side, and the tank destroyers obviously will be sitting at the base. So I'm looking forward to this map. I used to play it quite often in these events to get the T22, but after they got rid of that, they really only made this map available for real big events like clans that were playing on the WGL League. And ever since then, I haven't seen this map. Moving on to the last 2 points of this patch. The 2D customization 1.4 will bring new unique customization, and this time you can actually put numbers on your tank. And you can basically go from 001 to 999, so it's going to be 3 numbers together in different fonts, and that's all there is. So this is the customization edition. It's nothing new, and I'm not sure. It's probably nice, but at the same time, it takes the slot of the inscription. So you will not be able to put an inscription and then afterwards the number. And I still miss the fact that you cannot put any of the camouflage and customization on different positions. You cannot put it like in War Thunder, like straight all over the tank. And I would love to see that, but maybe it's coming. They're working on it, and at least we see some progress in the customization sector. A very big place where they can make all the money they want, at least from my opinion. But yeah, customization is also rather expensive now. I've bought a lot of boxes now this year. I've made a lot of gold through these boxes, so I'll be able to afford all of that. But people that didn't buy any of that, well, they're basically looking down the pipe. They see absolutely nothing. They cannot use these inscription stuff without having gold, and basically that kind of sucks, not making them available for credits. I don't understand that. It still annoys me, it still bugs me, and it needs to be fixed in my opinion. Now the rendering support, this is going to be I think one of the biggest impacts that this game will have with the addition of the new engine. Now they're going to be making the loads more distributed between CPU and graphics, so that people that have decent graphic cards and decent CPUs will have a much better performance. Now this is actually going to be optimizing performance for all computers, but it will probably give a very nice addition to the low-end computers, because if lower-end PCs have, especially laptops, have decent CPUs, they usually do not have decent GPUs. So the GPU before had to handle all the weight, while the CPU was kind of on idle mode. That means that now you'll be able to play the game much better with a higher frame rate, and it should be working a lot more smoothly, which I really do respect. And it's taken them a while, but at least they're challenging this, or they're trying to fix this, getting better FPS. That is very important for all the people that are using laptops, lower PCs, and that is very nice. So basically that is 1.4. There are still going to be different changes in the future, but I think that's about it. It's not the biggest patch. I think the biggest new addition will be the light French wheeled vehicles, then maybe the new map, and obviously what you cannot forget is the optimization with the rendering. That is going to be very nice, and I'm looking forward to it. So this was this little overview. I hope you guys got everything out of it, and I'm looking forward to the light tanks, and I'll be making some previews about them in the near future. And actually near future, on Wednesday I will be covering at least 1 or 2 vehicles, and we'll look when I'll cover the other vehicles. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the test server. If you don't have the time, or if you have time, definitely try out the test server. It's nice. It gives you a very nice perspective of what is going on in the game, and you can try out everything. And there's basically no repercussion for you if you're, just selling some of the tanks and buying new vehicles that you really want to try out. So try it out. The only thing that you'll be wasting is maybe a little bit of time, and that is pretty nice. I always like the policy of wargaming with test servers, and I think they should continue that definitely further on in the future. So that was it. I hope I see you guys on Wednesday. Until then, peace out.